I would like to invite up Mohammad Shaheen from Elisa Polystar, and he'll be sharing some of their experience in applying Gen AI in networks. Thank you, Mohammad. Welcome.
Thank you. All right, is this working? Great. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mohammad Shaheen. I am the head of product strategy at Elisa Polystar. And maybe for those of you who doesn't know who is Elisa Polystar, or Elisa Polystar is a company that have existed in the market for more than 20 years, and we are specialized in network service assurance and customer experience assurance. We've been doing this for so many years. We have 10 offices around the world, more than 100 customers, and we really love what we do, and we're really enthusiastic about our software and our applications, and we like to help our customer operators go through the journey of transformation to the automation journey. And when I was preparing the slides, the idea of looking at opportunities will not come without looking at problems. But my team said, please don't talk about problems, we call them challenges. So we'll talk about some of the challenges that were practical, that we have faced when we are going through that transformation from a vendor perspective. And hopefully by sharing this with everybody, maybe you will get this aha moment that, oh yeah, I faced that problem too. I think we should, talk about this, how to solve that. And we've been doing a lot of research in the last 2 years, but the rate of change that's happening in the scene of AI is just tremendous. And I think we've heard it this morning that people are trying to keep up with what's going on, but it's really that hard. So we really need to do like some hyper specialization about what we really need to get out of this whole revolution and how we can take that and integrate it into our daily work. So throughout the journey of automation, and this has been mentioned many times during the day, I mean, there's no session that will go without talking about the TM Forum, multi-level autonomous networks, level 0 to level 5, and it's really a journey. And when we looked at that, we thought, okay, from a vendor perspective, we need to look at this from a different angle because we have an obligation to help operators move up that scale and prepare our solutions for that migration. And this is very important because we had to go back to the drawing board when it comes to looking at what's happening in the field right now. And when we looked at that model, it really looks like a scale jumping up, but it gets harder the more you get up in that. And I don't want to spend too much time in this because we've really discussed it so many times today. But the key takeaways that I've seen from today's session is that number one, if you look at the highest level, which is level 5, I like when it was discussed, or basically we called it a mythical level. Does it even really exist that we'll be able to reach that level of autonomy in networks? But you can sense that whoever developed that in the TM Forum had some kind of like human psychology degree or something, because it gives us a purpose for competing and trying to, reach to the higher level and compete, against each other to see how we can help reach that level. But probably when you look from level 0 to level 4, that's kind of like more realistic to the technology that we have today. But who knows, maybe in the future we will be able to reach that level 5 of complete autonomy. But the most important part about this is that this model is really multidimensional. So it's not just one model for the whole operator. Your teams and your processes can be at any level at any given point of time. And the real challenge is that how everything is going to converge at the end to be able to be at the same level at some point of time. But there is no problem whatsoever that some processes and some applications and some even teams can reach to a certain level before others. And probably they need to help each other from learnings and basically sharing the experience and what to do actually to reach that kind of level. But looking at this, we wanted to simplify. Elisa Polystar is a Swedish company. Our headquarters in Sweden. We are owned by Elisa Industriq, a Finnish company. So we are Scandinavian at heart, and we like simplicity. So we simplified everything for ourselves. And we basically split those levels into 3 sections, main sections. The first one would be the basic automation zone with level 0 and level 1. Probably nobody is, still at that level. Everybody is somewhere playing between level 2 and level 3. And then you have the advanced automation zone, which is the second zone of your automation journey. And then you have the ultimate zone, or the last zone, which is the autonomous zone. But in able to jump from one area to the next, you will have to unlock certain potential in the organization. The first one would be you need to have a very solid data strategy. I do not think that anybody can actually go up the scale of autonomy and have a really solid AI strategy without having a really good data strategy, because data is everything in AI and machine learning. So this is very important. But during that journey, you will also see some barriers. And I also liked really much today in today's discussions when we mentioned that culture could be a barrier. Internal corporate culture, I mean, because this is a big shift in the mindset from, old, repetitive, straightforward type of work into something that you will have to rely entirely on a new system of AI to help you do the basic work that you do on every day, or basically it takes you at a new higher levels. System integration issues, we've seen that too much confidence in providers or hyperscalers. I mean, yes, sometimes there is some lack of confidence in how much vendors and hyperscalers can help in this. So this is some of the barriers that we have seen. The next phase, the barriers that we have seen in the field, is data availability. Sometimes the availability is data is just your biggest barrier to achieve certain goals. And when we talk about service assurance in general, usually what's mentioned or that comes into your mind is reports, KPIs, dashboards, these kinds of things. But it's really the art of finding the right data at the right time to take the right decision. So data is very important. GDPR or rules, the EU right now is preparing to release this AI regulation very soon, and operators are afraid that this might actually limit a little bit progress in that area. We will have to see, but this is also a very good or a very important factor or barrier that could limit you from transitioning. And then at the last stage, when we reach that stage, there will be a lot of influence from the regulations that will be in place at that point of time on how much data can be consumed and the limit between exposing that data to the networks and to the AI models versus keeping the privacy, of course, of that information of your subscribers. And at the same time, how mature are these regulations will be in that phase. So this is basically a summary of probably everything that was discussed today. It's by no means an exhaustive list of what are the deciding factors when you need to do that transition from level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 or 5. But we would summarize those from our discussions with our customers into 4 layers. And the first layer is tools and applications. We as suppliers, we have a role in creating these vertical silos that has been there for many years. And we need to start to work together to avail APIs, ways of integration, easy ways of integration. And there will be some challenges that will happen and we see in the field, such as can you afford to have multiple tools to troubleshoot the same problem? Or you need to go into a journey of unification of tools and application in able to get higher into the level of autonomy. That's the main highlight in the first layer. Second layer is foundational functionality. We still see operators in the market kind of like hesitant between taking the decision of should we go through open source LLMs or should we rely entirely on publicly available LLMs? Strength versus openness. And I think this is a very important question. And we've seen both in action, to be honest. But there are still some obligations and privacy issues that will limit the use of publicly available LLMs in some certain cases. So that's a very important decision to take in that layer. Infrastructure, public cloud, hybrid, private. I have seen customers who went completely into the cloud, but then they have discovered that the cost of moving to the cloud is not equal to the benefit. So they kind of like balance it between, okay, we will put some of the applications on the cloud, but we will keep some stuff on-prem for operational efficiency reasons. And these kind of decisions are still being taken in the field. We have seen that. Data storage decisions, data lakehouse, data warehouse, these decisions will impact your journey in AI. And they are costly. And you know what? We always think about how we store the data, but we rarely talk about how to move the data. Moving the data in the network actually costs. And the way to move data between different silos, if you need to keep the silos, will actually cost at some point of time. And the cost of moving the data might exceed the cost of storing the data. And we've seen that. But you still need that data to train models, to use it in your LLM projects, in your applications, to solve certain problems, to create some use cases. So data movement has to happen at some point of time. Last thing is data management. Every data source is generated in different schemas, different formats, and you cannot possibly imagine how much time we spend just to try to unify the different data sources that we have in the field just to be able to do one use case. If you have like fault management data, performance management data, CM data, customer care data, they come in different forms and shapes, and you need to unify all of this and able to apply one single use case that will help customer experience management. So all in all, to summarize, we need to keep track of the efforts that we do. We always have to have some milestones to measure the benefit versus the costs. And at the same time, we really need to, keep an eye on customer experience, because automation is about network operational efficiency, which is amazing. But we have to keep the customer centricity at the top of the priorities when doing that. We don't want to lose the grip on the customer experience that the customer feels in the field while using our services.